any further ado, I would like to bring our first speaker today, and like the morning bell that awakens the students, I am very pleased to announce a Mr. David R. Bell. He is a marketing professor and author and investor. Please welcome Mr. David R. Bell.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, good morning, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here in Hamburg, and very excited to be in this venue and to share with you a very long title, The Branding Revolution, about digitally native vertical brands and what legacy brands can learn from these brands. So I'd like to share with you really from three perspectives. First of all, my perspective as an investor. Secondly, my perspective as a researcher studying these kind of companies. And finally, as kind of a student and a professor learning about the digital economy. So in terms of our journey today, we're really going to go through three steps. First of all, I'm going to define what is this revolution. Secondly, who is involved in this revolution? And then thirdly, how do we navigate the revolution, and what is kind of the go forward if you want to create a digitally native vertical brand? And really the key point here at the end is something I'm calling the BOSS model. It's about bonding, not branding, orators, not customers, showrooms, not stores, and science, not service. So I will elaborate that piece and then have some final thoughts about what new brands are learning and what legacy brands can learn from those new brands. So let's start at the beginning. If you go to the website of the American Marketing Association, what is a brand? A brand is a name, term, sign, symbol, or design intended to differentiate one seller from the other. This is the old definition of a brand. This is the Nike swoosh. This is Gillette, the best a man can get. This is Virgin, and so on. Conversely, a revolution is a forcible overthrow to a new social system. The revolution in branding looks like this. Some of these brands you may know. For example, Harry's is manufactured here in Germany. It's a $1 billion brand. Warby Parker became a Verb. It's an eyewear brand of $2 billion. Glossier is a $1 billion brand, and so on. Although I should say, none of these brands yet really had any exit. That's something we'll discuss at the end. So, who are the revolutionaries? The revolutionaries, first and foremost, are the customers. And the customer group that we think about is the millennial demographic, which is the largest spending cohort in history, according to Goldman Sachs. But more importantly than the demographic is the psychographic. The millennial customer values experience over product. The millennial customer values convenience over price. The millennial customer values authenticity. So this psychographic, even if you're a Gen X like me or a Gen Z, this psychographic is affecting the buying patterns. And also, the psychographic for the buying patterns is a global cohort. So you have SoulCycle in New York City, you have Space Cycle in Beijing, you have the Museum of Ice Cream in Miami, you have the Museum of Eggs in Shanghai. So this is a global connected cohort of consumers. The second part of the revolution is what is here on the slide, all of the enabling factors of the revolution. So I can't read the name from here, but if the gentleman in the front and we want to start a company to make digital native shoes, we could start this company together probably in about 1 week. Because we have the third-party logistics, we have the branding infrastructure, we have the payment platform, we have the contract manufacturing. So when I was a professor at Wharton, I had a student. He wrote an article, very smart undergraduate student, how to create a company in 1 day. He published in Forbes. So the tailwinds are very, very important for the revolution. Now, the next piece of the revolution, of course, is the founders. The reason I love the digital native vertical brand movement, the direct-to-consumer movement, this is the purest democratization in history of entrepreneurship. The purest democratization in history of entrepreneurship. So maybe you know Edmund Hillary. I'm from New Zealand, so I have to mention something about New Zealand. So Edmund Hillary, after he climbed Mount Everest, he didn't say that he was an extraordinary guy. He just said he was an ordinary guy motivated to do something extraordinary. So the digital native brand revolution is about us, ordinary people motivated to create a better shampoo, a better ice cream, a better pair of shoes, plastic that does not affect the environment, and so on. So the next most important piece are the founders. Okay, so now we know what is the revolution, okay? We know who is involved in the revolution. So the final piece is, how do we activate, how do we navigate the revolution? So when I advise companies or I invest in companies, the framework I think about is something I call the BOSS model. This is the branding revolution in action, and this is kind of the practical piece I hope can help us. So the first piece, we have a definition, a close relationship that develops as a result of a shared experience. What is this? This is bonding. So I say bonding, not branding. So Gillette is a brand, the best a man can get. It's the global #1 shaving company in the world, but I don't feel any emotional connection. If anyone in the audience you know who is the CEO of Gillette, I will give you $100 US. I guarantee nobody knows, nobody cares. I don't mean any disrespect, but bonding, not branding. So let me show you a video that exemplifies bonding, not branding. This is a CEO who used to be a comedian who started a company to defeat Gillette.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you.
Okay, so I think you can see Dollar Shave Club, bonding, not branding. A comedian from Los Angeles, in 4 years, he took 10% of the market share of Gillette and sold his company to Unilever for $1 billion. Bonding, not branding. So what is bonding? Bonding, number one, is you must deliver functional, emotional, and symbolic value with the product. The product must work, the product must make me feel good, and the product must show to other people I'm a sensible consumer. That's number one. Number two, you must develop an authentic and a transparent persona. So if you're older like me, you might remember in 1993, the New Yorker had a cartoon about the internet. And the New Yorker cartoon, there was a dog. He's ordering some steak from steak.com. And he says to his dog friend, on the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. So 26 years ago, the internet was anonymity. Today, it's authenticity and transparency. The customer must trust you and have that relationship. And number three, you cannot create a bond unless you can cultivate an engaged and scalable community. If you go back to the previous slide, maybe the ladies in the audience, you know Glossier from Emily Weiss. Emily Weiss started her company with the community, and the product came later. Bonding, not branding. The next piece, we have a definition, a public speaker, especially one of great eloquence. I call this the orator, the orator. So in the digital economy, it's about orators, not customers. Customers are transactions. Sir, I take your money, I give you a product. An orator, my story is so compelling, number one, I have a shareable story, you have a reason to tell it. So orators, not customers. What is the shareable story of the brand, and what is the reason to tell that story? Number two, you have to identify the relevant influencers. And of course, sometimes the influencer is famous, like Kylie Jenner with her makeup, the youngest billionaire in history. It could be Ryan Gosling wearing the Warby Parker glasses, but actually, sometimes more important is a fellow like this fellow, Tyler Oakley, kind of a micro-influencer. He has fewer followers, but whatever he says, his followers will be engaged and they will be interested. So a shareable story and a reason to tell it, number one. Number two, identify the correct influencers. And number three, to create orators, not customers, you must use incentives to drive word of mouth. So maybe some of you in the audience know of a company called Jet.com. It was started by a former Wharton student. He sold his company to Walmart for $3 billion, okay? And when he launched his company, he announced in the press, if you, sir, at the front, if you will collect the most email addresses for Jet.com, I will give you 100,000 shares in my company. He announced this motivation in the press. So I thought to myself, I should drive around America and I should collect email addresses, maybe I can get the stock. Of course, the internet is the world of the extreme, so a fellow called Eric Martin, he collected 8,147 email addresses. He received 100,000 shares of stock in Jet.com, and when Jet.com was acquired by Walmart for $3 billion, Eric and his wife and his baby received $20 million US. I don't suggest you should give stock in your company to random people, but the principle, how do I use incentives to generate the word of mouth? Does it make sense? Orators, not customers. Orators, not customers. Okay, now the S, the first S. Maybe we can guess what the first S is. So this is a setting or a place for displaying and creating experiences. What is this? This is a showroom, not a store. Showrooms, not a store. So maybe in Europe, maybe in the United States, maybe in China, everywhere in the world, we hear the retail apocalypse. Last year in the United States, 9,000 stores bankrupt. But you see new kinds of brands like Away, like Warby Parker is the number 3 most successful brand sales per square foot in the United States. Apple, Tiffany, Warby Parker. Showrooms, not stores. Showroom means a smaller store, more technology, more experience. So last year we wrote an article, "The store is dead, long live the store," because the physical space is critical, absolutely important to the direct-to-consumer brand, but it's smaller, not bigger. So the 3 principles of the showroom. Number 1, sometimes you have a showroom on the move, like the Casper mattress, you can take a sleep, the Warby Parker school bus. But the first most important principle...
This man...
Maybe I come back to the video. Do you guys like to see videos? Okay, we have time. I'll show you the video. This is actually a very interesting concept. This is the showroom in your home. The showroom in your home. So here we go.
This man needs glasses. He has very high standards and particular tastes. Boutiques are expensive and have left him disappointed. And with discount retailers, the results are unpredictable. So he's trying Warby Parker. The virtual try-on tool gives him recommendations to fit his face. And with the home try-on program, he gets 5 pairs shipped to his home for free. He can spend quality time with each pair. and pick the very best one. The vintage-inspired frames are handsome and well built. It's very important to find the right frames. And when it happens, he just sends Warby Parker his prescription, and his frames come back lenses in for $95. And for every pair they sell, Warby Parker gives a pair to someone in need. He likes that. Now he's got the frames he wants. A pair that fits right and looks good. Find your pair at warbyparker.com.
Okay, so I think it's actually a very interesting concept if we had more time, but have the showroom in your home. There's a different kind of intimacy there. There's a direct-to-consumer furniture brand in Los Angeles. If you buy their outdoor furniture and you put in your backyard, if somebody comes to visit your home to view the furniture, you receive $20. If they buy the furniture, you receive $200. So the showroom concept, movable showrooms, pop-ups, smaller spaces, even showrooms in the home. So the three principles: number one, you want to create an elevated and an in-depth experience. Number two, you want to prioritize a location that is operationally efficient and light in inventory. You will never, 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 never beat Amazon in inventory. Never. But you can beat Amazon in experience. So you want an elevated, in-depth experience with no inventory. And number three, you want to embrace technology and encourage sharing. In the digital economy, if somebody visits your showroom in Hamburg, okay, 20 years ago, 100 people visit your showroom. At the end of the day, 100 people had some knowledge, and they told 10 friends. So from 100, you got 110 impressions. In the digital economy, from 100 people, you can get 10,000 impressions because of social shareability. So the physical space can be shared digitally. So showrooms, not stores. The final piece is this one: systematic knowledge of the world gained through experimentation. What is this? This is science, not service. In the old economy, I say, "Sir, may I help you?" In the new economy, I will predict your preference before you know yourself. Science, not service, is the final piece of the new direct-to-consumer economy. So again, for science, not service, there are three principles. Number one, you want to surface or reveal exciting options to your customers before they search. Surfacing, not searching. Number two, you want to activate the DNA of customization. So every morning I wake up and I have a little packet of vitamins, and the packet says, "Made for David." And the company is called Care of. It's a $200 million company started by a Wharton MBA student. Why? Because the vitamin industry, the vitamin buying experience sucks, okay? Maybe everyone in this room, in your home, you have some vitamin B, some vitamin K, vitamin E, but you don't really consume it. It's half consumed. So he will customize based on a survey for me. I'm a man of a certain age, a certain weight, a certain activity. So every morning, I open the packet, "Made for David." If you look at Stitch Fix, it was the most successful retail IPO of 2017. The customization of products that I send to your house, you keep what you want, you send back what you don't. So in the digital D2C economy, personalization, customization is critical. The final piece of the digital economy is, how do I connect orthogonal, unrelated pieces of information for insight? So the gentleman at the front, if I discover on Amazon you're purchasing economics textbooks, not romance novels, maybe I should give you a loan to buy a new car. Because if you buy economics books, you are more financially responsible. Of course, this was extremely controversial in the United States election in 2016. Cambridge Analytica If they collect about 300 pieces of your social data, they can understand maybe 80% of your preferences. So the use of social data, of course, privacy laws as well, but this is the final piece of science, not service. So, just to recap, before I give the parting thoughts, if you want to succeed in this new revolution, bonding, not branding. Okay, branding is a label, it's a name, term, sign, symbol, or design intended to differentiate. That idea is 50 years old, okay? Bonding, not branding. So functional, emotional, symbolic value, authenticity, transparency, a community, and scalability. Orators, not customers. In the digital economy, your customers must be sharing your story. Showrooms, not stores. A small place with a great experience that really connects to the customer. And finally, science, not service. Customization, insight, showing people options that they want. So in the last 2 minutes, just some final thoughts. If you're a legacy brand like Unilever or a new brand like Dollar Shave, what are some 5 things we can think about here? So number 1, if we want to really create great brands, the white space should be bottom up from a personal pain point. Why are my glasses the same price as an iPhone? I don't know. Let's start Warby Parker. Why does a razor cost me $5 from Gillette? I don't know. Dollar Shave Club. So starting from a personal, authentic pain point, number 1, not top-down research. Number 2, the people who create these new brands are new kinds of agencies, PR, data science. It's not necessarily the old agencies of the past, but there's a whole new cohort of infrastructure to create these brands. Number 3, if you think about in the old economy, when I used to be a professor, I used to talk about double marginalization. It's a French concept, it's a big word, but quite simple. It just says every time you introduce a retailer or a distributor, the price must go up. So the direct-to-consumer promise is, sir, I sell direct to you, all of the margin comes back to me. But it's important that you do not waste the margin on Facebook, on Twitter, on returns, on that direct-to-consumer economics can easily be destroyed if the founder is not disciplined. That's a very important point. Next point is, if you think about technology businesses like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, we are always concerned with the unicorn, right? You guys all know the unicorn? Aileen Lee, she wrote an article in 2013 when she was leaving Kleiner Perkins. She said, "Welcome to the Unicorn Club, looking for the billion-dollar startup." The unicorn is not common by definition. The unicorn is very uncommon in consumer and retail. So let's create a 50 million euro business, but only invest 2 million to do it. So the capital structure of these companies should be disciplined. And the final point is, how do these companies get an exit? So Dollar Shave Club was acquired by Unilever, but all of those famous brands I showed you earlier are all private, no exit. So this may be the biggest challenge for the direct-to-consumer revolution. And this year, maybe Casper will exit, maybe Warby Parker, but that's the final validation. Okay, so the clock just exactly hit 0. So thank you so much for coming along, and I hope the presentation was helpful. Enjoy your time in Hamburg. Thank you.